The Sleeping Prophet, the enigmatic story of Edgar Cayce. It was a cold night in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, at the end of the 19th century. The stars shone in the sky, but they weren't enough to illuminate the mysteries brewing in the mind of a young farmer named Edgar Cayce. From his childhood, Edgar had felt something different within him. He had a peculiar ability to learn things that others could not. It was said that when he was just a boy, he could sleep on a book and upon waking, had absorbed all its content. His parents, although intrigued, considered him a normal child, and never suspected that their son would become one of the most enigmatic prophets in history. The early gifts. One day, while Edgar was playing alone in the family's barn, he had an experience that would change his life forever. He fell into a deep trance while trying to study the Bible, a book that had always fascinated him. In this state, he had a vision. A radiant angel appeared before him and told him that his life was destined to serve humanity, that he would become a channel between the spiritual and physical worlds. Edgar awoke frightened, but also with a strange sense of peace and purpose. As he grew, Edgar continued to have visions and prophetic dreams. His abilities developed to the point where he could diagnose illnesses and suggest treatments, all while in a deep trance. But Edgar was not a doctor, nor did he have any medical training. What he did was profoundly mysterious and puzzling to those around him, including himself. Despite his doubts, he continued with his readings, helping friends and family who consulted him about health problems. The first great mystery. Edgar Cayce's life changed dramatically when a prominent New York physician, Dr. Wesley Ketchum, heard rumors about his abilities. Intrigued, Dr. Ketchum traveled to Kentucky to meet Cayce and put his supposed gifts to the test. Ketchum, a man of science, was initially skeptical. How could a simple farmer have medical knowledge without ever attending medical school? But what happened during the initial consultation left Dr. Ketchum perplexed. Edgar, in his trance state, accurately diagnosed a rare disease that had afflicted one of the doctor's patients. Not only did he identify the ailment, but he also suggested a treatment that Dr. Ketchum had never considered, but that turned out to be completely effective. It was at that moment that Ketchum became a faithful supporter of Cayce and helped him establish himself in New York, where Cayce began to conduct readings for a broader audience. The mystery of Atlantis. Cayce's abilities extended beyond medicine. In several readings, he began to speak of an ancient civilization called Atlantis. According to Cayce, Atlantis had been an extremely advanced civilization, with technologies far beyond those of the 20th century. The Atlanteans, he said, used energy crystals to power their cities and travel around the world, but a cataclysm had led to their destruction. Cayce claimed that many of those living in his time were reincarnations of Atlanteans, and that Atlantis had left its mark on cultures like the Egyptian. He spoke of a hall of records hidden beneath the Great Sphinx in Egypt, where the secrets of humanity from its origin to its final destiny were stored. These statements captured the attention of scholars, adventurers, and archaeologists from around the world. Many traveled to Egypt, hoping to discover this hidden chamber. Although it has yet to be found, the legend of the Hall of Records lives on, fueled by Cayce's enigmatic readings. The Second Coming and the Change of Era. In his readings, Cayce also spoke of a great spiritual change that would transform the world. He predicted that in the 21st century, humanity would enter a new era of enlightenment and spirituality, an era where the barriers between the physical and spiritual worlds would break down, allowing people to connect with the divine in ways they had never imagined before. This change, according to Cayce, would not be a physical second coming of Christ, but an awakening in the collective consciousness. The world as we know it would change profoundly, and humanity would face great trials and tribulations before reaching a state of peace and harmony. As the new millennium approached, many of Cayce's followers began to interpret world events as signs of the fulfillment of his prophecies. Climate change, natural disasters, and political crises were seen as preludes to the great spiritual awakening that Cayce had predicted. However, the exact nature of this change remains a mystery, and those who believe in Cayce's prophecies continue to watch for signs that the world is entering this new era. The mystery of health. In addition to his prophecies about world events, Cayce dedicated a large part of his readings to health. His approach was radical for the time, promoting the idea that illness was not just a physical problem, but also a spiritual one. He suggested treatments that combined natural remedies, dietary changes, and spiritual practices. What is most puzzling is that many of Cayce's recommendations, which at the time seemed out of place, are now seen as precursors to modern holistic medicine. He spoke of the healing power of the mind, the importance of diet in maintaining the balance of body and soul, and the need for a spiritual connection for true healing. One of the most famous cases was that of a young man suffering from epilepsy. After conventional doctors failed to help him, his parents turned to Cayce. In his reading, Cayce recommended a treatment with a specific diet, hydrotherapy, and a series of meditations. Against all odds, the young man began to improve, and eventually, his epilepsy disappeared. This case, and many others like it, cemented Cayce's reputation as a mysterious and effective healer. Unresolved mysteries. As Cayce aged, his readings became increasingly philosophical and spiritual. He began to talk about concepts such as karma, reincarnation, and the Akashic records, a sort of cosmic library that contained all the history and knowledge of the universe. These ideas, although not new, were presented by Cayce in a way that deeply resonated with many people seeking answers to the great questions of life. However, not all the mysteries that Cayce unveiled have been solved. The Hall of Records remains undiscovered. The prophecies about Atlantis and the great geological changes Cayce predicted have not fully materialized, although some see current events as signs that those changes are on their way. The Immortal Legacy. Edgar Cayce died in 1945, but his legacy lives on through the A.R.E. Association for Research and Enlightenment, which he founded. Thousands of people around the world continue to study his readings, seeking to understand the mysteries Cayce attempted to reveal. What makes Cayce's story so intriguing is the blend of the mystical with the tangible. His visions and predictions, while sometimes hard to believe, have had a lasting impact on modern spiritual thought. And while some of his prophecies have yet to be fulfilled, the hope and mystery they infuse continue to draw new generations of seekers. Edgar Cayce is an enigma, an ordinary man with an extraordinary gift, whose visions challenge us to think beyond the visible and explore the depths of the mind and spirit. His story is a window into a world where the unknown intertwines with the known, where the past, present, and future merge into a tapestry of mystery and revelation. And as the shadows of the night fall upon us, it's impossible not to wonder, what else did Edgar Cayce know? What secrets remain hidden in the corners of his prophetic mind? Cayce's story is far from over. His legacy continues to grow, wrapping each new reader in a web of unanswered questions, unsolved mysteries, and a sense of wonder at the vast and unknown universe that Cayce invited us to explore.